Hey, in this episode of Ask Aaron, I'm going to explain why your SEO isn't working, and it's probably not for the reason you think. Let's get into it. So look, I speak to lots of prospective clients, business owners every single week, and the common assumption when it comes to the SEO not working is because the tech's not up to scratch. Maybe we're using the wrong CMS, maybe the website isn't optimized. That's everyone's go-to. But fundamentally, it's far simpler than that. It rarely these days is it because the tech's not right, because there are so many great systems out there that the bar has been raised to such an extent and such a level where rarely is it just that the website isn't optimized or the tech is too slow. These days, that's less of a concern. It was back a few years ago, but these days the bar's pretty good. Whether you're on a Shopify or a WordPress or Magento, they're all pretty good. Can they be improved and optimized? Yes. Are there some marginal gains from doing that stuff? Absolutely. But the reason your SEO most likely isn't working is far more fundamental than that. And it simply boils down to one phrase, which I've said my entire career to hundreds of business owners, is you probably don't deserve to rank. You probably don't deserve to be above your competitors in those all-important search results. And if you don't, then that is the reason why your SEO isn't working. So in this quick video, I'm going to walk you through a fundamental concept, and then I've got a fantastic little golden nugget at the end, which I'm going to share with you, which is really going to help you if you can relate to this problem. So let's get into it. And I've got my trusty whiteboard out with me today. Now look, if your SEO isn't working, and you're an e-commerce brand, it boils down to one simple thing that I see time and time again. And that is most e-commerce brands, their websites tend to be a shop window. And that's how they're thought about, and that's how you tend to treat them. So if you are doing this, you are absolutely the same as the vast majority of business owners and e-commerce brands out there. I'll explain what I mean. Google fundamentally is a search engine, right? So its mission is to provide answers to people's questions. It is to offer expertise, is to add value, is to help the person. Why do we all jump onto Google? Because we have a question. We want an answer to, whatever we're looking for. We're going on there for information, for expertise, for advice, for help, for assistance, whatever it is. Now, that is at odds fundamentally with what you and your e-commerce brand want, because you fundamentally want to sell more of your product. You want to increase your brand awareness. You want to showcase your products, your services to, via the internet. That's why an e-commerce brand, that's why, retail brands have websites. It's why all businesses have a website. But fundamentally, those two things are at odds with one another. You would agree? Because, Google wants to provide information and answers to questions and help and advice, and we want to sell more of our product. And I still see this all the time. Every single week, whenever I talk to brands, is I say, well, okay, so you want to be you are a shop window, but what you need to be is an information resource. Now, we need to be both of these things. And generally, 9 times out of 10, a brand will be doing a pretty good job at being a shop window. The website will look pretty, it'll showcase all of the products, talk about the brand, have the lifestyle element, and it'll really look the business. But then I'll say, great, you're doing a fab job of that. What about this information resource? How are we reinforcing to Google that we're a genuinely useful website, that yes, we want to sell more of our product, but first and foremost, we're going to give Google more of what it wants. It's a really simple concept, but I have to get this through to the brands that we talk to and say, well, okay, well, in order to get more of what we want, which is more sales or more leads, works for all businesses, but in order for us to get more of that, what we have to do is give Google more of what it wants, which is our expertise, which is our knowledge, our experience, the answers to questions. So how are we currently an information resource, or how are we going to become an information resource, right? And if we become, I see this so many times over, I spent my entire career doing this, is taking brands, e-commerce and non-e-commerce, and turning them from just being a shop window into being an information resource. And a funny thing happens every time you do this. If you become more of an information resource, then what happens is Google sort of sits up, takes notice of your brand. Okay, these guys are doing a great job. They're providing some really good information. And then it in turn gives you more of what you want, which is ultimately more sales, because you start to rank for those commercial terms. You've probably heard the phrase, a high tide raises all the boats. That sort of principle. If we create loads of great content and put it out there and genuinely help Google, it has a reason to push us above our competition and start to rank for those competitive terms. It's a very simple concept, and I'm going to build on this. So I hope you're still with me. So now once we get that and we think, okay, well, as a brand, yes, we absolutely want to deserve to rank. That is, if we can deserve to rank, that's going to be a really good thing for our brand and for our SEO and for our ability to increase our brand prominence and get a greater proportion of the market. If we know we need to do that, then it becomes, well, how are we going to do it? So very, very simple. Let's keep things very, very simple. The best way we can do that is to think, right, well, who are our customers? Who are they? Who are our target customers? Who are we trying to get in front of? And some brands really have this nailed down. They know exactly who their target market is. Others a little bit more woolly, and they have to spend some time really honing that down, really getting very specific on who they are. Once we know who our target markets are, what we then have to do, very simply, is work out, well, what are their pain points? What are the pain points? And again, some of you, your sales team, some of your colleagues will just know this straight away. You'll be, oh, well, it's this. These are the pain points we solve. These are the questions they ask. And once you know those pain points, then you have to work out, well, how can we help them? Is video going to be the best medium to help them? Is it going to be, writing content? And is that content short form or long form? Are we going to need to visualize this stuff by getting a little bit more creative? And then what you need to do is you need to build a baseline and understand, well, where is the baseline based on these pain points? And the way to do that, jump onto Google. So you go onto Google and you start searching for the pain points and you start searching for how you would help, right? And you're looking for the answers, because what you're trying to do is get a sense of the baseline, kind of where is the line in the sand today, because that will serve as the minimum that you need to do in order to outrank that competition. Now, if you go onto Google and you search for something and one of your competitors pops up and you just look at what they have created to address that pain point and you just say, they've nailed that. I can't beat that. Move on to the next topic, or find a creative way to doing something that's related and still relevant. Very, very simple. And or if you can't do that, then move on to the next topic. There's always going to be more topics. There's always, different ways to approach something. But what you've got to work out is understanding what's gone before, and that will serve as your base point in terms of, right, I've got to create something at least as good as that, if not better, and considerably better. You want to aim for this best on the web content. How do we do that? So just to recap before we move on, who is your target market? What are their pain points? And they're not just going to have one pain point, they're going to have lots of pain points. So you start to bucket them and think, well, there's that pain point, and then there's this pain point, and then there's this pain point. And then within that, right, well, how can we help that person? Okay, well, if we did this, and if we did that, and well, what's already out there? How do we go and work out what we need to do and where the baseline is? Let's jump onto Google and get a good sense of that. Once we've done that and we're then thinking about, right, we need to create this best on the web content, we need to really go to town and really demonstrate our expertise and our knowledge. How do we do that? Very simple. What we do is we then create evergreen content. And that is not something that I have named because I run the Evergreen agency. It's genuinely a thing. It does actually feed into the philosophy for our agency, but that's a story for another time. But evergreen content is an actual thing. If you don't believe me, go and Google it. One of the top results you will see coming up is our own guide that we wrote on it. And that is where I want to point you to, because the principle behind evergreen content is you as a brand create content that addresses those pain points, that is genuinely valuable. And you create something that is going to be as valuable and as useful today as it still, it will be in 10 years from now, right? And this is really key. So the whole nature of evergreen content is leveraged content. You create it, you spend the time, take the time and energy to create something and make it amazing. You make sure that it's better than the next best thing online. And then you put it out there, and you sometimes will keep adding to it, you'll keep making it better. And so evergreen content is how you can address those pain points, and you can do it in a way that's better than the competition. But the premise of this is very simple. It's essentially just, how can you add the most value that is going to beat anyone else that's gone before you and really showcase your expertise, so that we on our website can become an information resource. Because if we become an information resource and we create really high value content, it might be video, it might be written, it doesn't have to be long form. Gone are the days where evergreen content meant it was long form pieces of content. Sometimes it is that. Sometimes it can just be a really succinct FAQ. We've ranked evergreen content for our clients where it's just literally a half a dozen bullet points, but it absolutely hits the nail on the head in terms of the pain point that person's got and the steps that they want to take and the information that they need. So it can take many, many different forms, and the premise is simply that. It's just to make sure that you create content that is going to be very useful, and someone can read it and think, that has addressed my pain point, that has really helped me on my way. By doing that with consistency, Google will recognize you as an authority in your space. You will start to rank for whole topics rather than keywords. We never talk about keywords here at Evergreen. We're always about topics and ranking and gaining authority around a whole topic. Much better for your long-term SEO and brand visibility. And we build everything around creating evergreen content. And we've long since created, and over the years we've kept updating and improving it and refining it, a huge guide, one of the best, funnily enough, on evergreen content, and I'm going to include that in the description of this video. So do check that out. I guarantee you, it will give you so many ideas that will just build on this short video, and it will give you loads of really practical ways that you can go and think about how can I create the best on the web content that is going to address those pain points, which is going to help my target customer. Because if I can do that, I am reinforcing to the search engine why I deserve to rank within the search results. And if I can do that for the information-led terms, those higher funnel, less commercially driven potentially terms, but I'm reinforcing to Google, hey, this is the information you need. This is the expertise that we have. This is how I can genuinely help the person. Google will recognize that over time with consistency, and it will start to rank you for your commercial terms. So very simple concept, and something that I have been reiterating to brands for years, and it's without a doubt the number one reason why brands and their SEO isn't working. So I hope it's useful for you. I hope you take a little something from this video. I've got lots more videos coming that are building on this kind of theme of how to increase your visibility. We're very early into building our YouTube channel. So if you find this useful, I would love any sort of thumbs up, comments. If you want to subscribe, that would be amazing. It'd be very much appreciated. And similarly, if you have any feedback, if this is useful, if it's not, if it's whatever, if you've got some feedback, I would be really grateful for that, because we're doing more and more of these, having a lot of fun doing them. And yeah, hope it's useful. Any questions, ping them in the comments. And otherwise, we'll see you on the next one. Thanks so much. Take care.